Welcome to the Story Learning Podcast, regular doses of language learning tips and motivation to help you become fluent in any language. With me, Olly Richards. For language programs, books, free resources, and much more, visit StoryLearning.com.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this special episode of the I Will Teach You a Language podcast. Coming to you from a place called Playa del Carmen in Mexico. So I'm sat here in this gorgeous little beach town. It's extremely touristy, but the sun is shining very, very strongly, and I'm sat out having some tortillas with some dips and things like that. And I thought I'd take this opportunity to record a little podcast episode today with a few thoughts on Mexico and, like, I guess what it's like to travel. In fact, I think the interesting thing for me has been the experience of traveling to a new country on the other side of the world, but actually already being able to speak the language and being able to communicate with people. It's a very interesting experience. And I'm sat here next to a good friend of mine, Jan van der Aar from Holland.
Hi, Olly. Oh, we're going to do.
You're live on the podcast.
I'm live on the podcast. Yeah. Okay, really excited about it. Thank you. No problem.
So we just got a band has just turned up, and I think they're about to start playing, or have they been kicked out? I don't think they were allowed in. Anyway, so yeah, it's weird because in the last I've travelled a lot, and it's one of the unique experiences of travelling to go to a place and really have trouble with communication and to not be able to understand people. I'm kind of I think about countries like Vietnam or Cambodia, where I've been, and you're totally 100% reliant on them speaking English because you can't speak any of the language, and that is part of the fascination, I think, because when you don't have an easy way to communicate, interesting things happen. I mean, yeah, and you've traveled much more than me, and what's it like for you turning up in a country where you really don't speak any of the language and you rely on them to speak English?
I still remember when I went to Costa Rica. That was 10 years ago, and I wanted to go there to learn Spanish. But even after 3 months, I couldn't speak much Spanish, and I remember that it was very stressful for me to travel around the country. Every time that you start a new conversation, you have to hope that this person at least is going to understand a few words in English, and I found it very stressful. My Spanish still isn't great, but it's so... Now I can manage to hold conversations and actually to ask for direction, buy bus tickets, actually do everything what you need as a tourist traveling around Mexico, and it feels so comfortable. And sometimes I even forget that I'm speaking Spanish. It just feels so natural to be. It feels so comfortable. I think that's one of the main advantages of learning all these languages.
Yeah, and that's interesting. Even though Spanish is not one of your main languages, it's interesting that you say you feel so natural. And why is that? Why does it feel so natural, even though your Spanish is not that strong?
What I find a huge difference is that, well, so far the people have only approached us in Spanish, and they expect us to reply in Spanish, and I feel that they really understand that. I don't know. I think it's just the people here, especially in Latin America, they're very relaxed. In Spain, it was a completely different experience for me. I feel much more nervous because I guess I look European, right? I could be Spanish, but being here, they expect me to be a tourist, and they don't have like high expectations of my Spanish. And
it is interesting here that actually people on the whole, they do speak to you in Spanish first, even though they must assume that you don't speak Spanish. They still speak to you in Spanish, and that's really nice. I mean, compared to my recent experience in Hong Kong, where the people I was hanging out with, everyone would speak English, and it was a nightmare to get good quality Cantonese practice. Yeah. You come here, so if you want to learn Spanish, coming here to Mexico is a wonderful thing to do, because the barrier to learning and practicing the language is so low, and I think it's a very interesting travel experience, isn't it?
Yeah. I had the same experience in China because almost no one speaks English there. Maybe in the big cities, in the hotels, but if you travel locally, that's another place where you really have to speak the local language in order to communicate. And here in Latin America, I have the same experience here in Mexico. Actually, I was a little bit nervous before going on this trip, but being here and actually seeing that it works, that people understand me, that communication is possible, makes it possible to have a much richer experience in this country than just speaking English.
Yeah. But yeah, another thing is, I mean, for me, is it's been interesting to come here and like speak Spanish in a different way than I'm used to, because I haven't spoken Spanish in South America before, apart with the exception of Argentina, because my like Spanish life has always been a European one, and so it hasn't been like completely easy. I mean, often I mean we're day 3 of the trip now, and I often have to ask people to repeat what they're saying. It's not because like I don't understand them. Well, I guess it is because I don't understand them, but it's not a problem so much with the language. It's not a language level problem. It's just because they'll say something in a way that's different from what I'm used to in European Spanish, and I just have to I take a second to kind of process the things that they're saying. And there's so many words, like so much vocabulary here that seems to be anglicized, or just like slightly different. And it's just weird because it just takes a bit of time to process it. So, last night we were ordering some tacos, and a guy sitting next to us turned around and Jan was reaching for this hot sauce, and the guy said, "Cuidado que es muy picoso." And picoso, I've never heard it before. It was obvious that it means picante, which is how you usually say spicy, but they just kind of say a word like that in a using a similar but different word, and it just takes you a second to process. And like we were sitting out having dinner the other day, and there was a sign on a house that said "se renta," which means it's for sale, right? Or sorry, it's available for rent. But in the Spanish that I'm used to, they would say "se alquila," but here they say "se renta," which is obviously from the English word rent. So it seems to me to be this very kind of Americanized Spanish. So I guess like time will tell. Yeah, but I guess like after 2 weeks, we'll probably be quite familiar with the way that the kind of Spanish that there is here. I guess we're just kind of getting used to it and acclimatizing.
Yeah, I think so too. And what we've done so far is we haven't really had deep conversation with the people, right? We're just traveling around and having some nice conversation, but we have not really made friends or really got to know someone well.
Well, it's because we've been in tourist spots. That's the problem,
exactly.
Right?
That's the thing. We're here in Prato do Carmen, in the most touristy street of the city, I guess. So we really have to get out of here. But yeah, once we get to those places where not so many tourists come, I guess we're gonna get the opportunity to have more meaningful conversations and actually find out how the Mexicans really speak, and maybe get a little bit of better feeling for how the people speak here, and maybe we can even start using some of those Mexican words ourselves.
A bit more cultural insight, I guess. Yeah, well, the plan for us now is we are going to head off to the kind of smallest places we can find, really, and just try to get a bit more of an authentic Mexican experience, which I've been told is out there. We just have to find it. Anyway, we are recording daily videos of our time here, documentary style. We're showing you what we're up to. We went to one of the 7 Wonders of the New World yesterday, and we filmed that. So if you'd like to see what we're up to, see our days and see where we go, and see us talking Spanish with people and just reflecting on the travel experience, then you can see all of that. It's all available to you. Go over to my YouTube channel, and you'll find daily videos for the next 2 weeks whilst we're here. So just head over to YouTube and search for Olly Richards, and you might get the guy from One Direction at first, but as long as you don't click on him, click on me instead, and then you'll see all of the videos that we're uploading here, and hopefully that will be useful for you guys. What we're doing is we're really focusing on Spanish immersion and how to actually get really useful speaking practice when you go away. The irony is, for the first few days, we haven't done a very good job because we've been in such tourist places. But from now on, I think we're heading more off the beaten track, and we'll have some more interesting examples for you. So again, that's youtube.com/IWTYAL. That's the direct link, but you can just go there and search for Olly Richards. You can also, we're posting lots of Instagram pictures as well. So if you like Instagram, then you can find me at I Will Teach You a Language, and you can see lots of behind the scenes pictures there. So yeah, a little bit of fun, hopefully inspiring as well. Thanks for listening. We'll see you back in the next episode of the podcast.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. And here at Story Learning, everything that I do is powered by stories, whether that's writing books, teaching lessons, crafting courses. My mission is to help everyone succeed at learning a new language through the power of story. And we now have comprehensive language courses in over 15 languages, from Spanish to French, Korean to Japanese, and across all levels from beginner to mastery. And you can take a 7-day free trial of any of these programs by visiting storylearning.com/courses. I've poured my heart and soul into creating these courses over the last 10 or so years, and we've helped tens of thousands of new students achieve their dreams of learning a new language, all through the power of story. So go ahead and take a free trial. There's no commitment. You can try out our method for free, see if this can also be the breakthrough for you that it's been for so many other people. storylearning.com/courses.